Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Rakage Omega, and I'm back with another Spider-Man Miles Morales video. Today we got a review for you guys. So I played the game. I unfortunately did not get a PS5 yet. So I did purchase the game on the PS4, and then I'll update it to PS5 and see how the graphical changes are. But I did play the game on PS4, beat the game, and I really have a lot of great things. I do have a couple of things that I found to be a little odd, but we're just gonna start off with the good. The first thing first, this game is really packaged with a lot of love and care. You can tell they not only care a lot about the character of Miles Morales, but what created him, right? And a lot of that is his culture, right? His Latin and African American roots, and his city and the culture that kind of brings upon him as well. So there's a lot of stuff in this game that feels homey. It feels like you're literally walking down the block and you know everybody, you know this person, you know that person. It's a lot more personal, I would say, than Peter's story. Peter's story, I think the most personal thing really at the moment was Doc Ock, because that was his mentor, and then you had obviously the threat of his family. But this is more than just the threat of his family. At every turn he's faced with decisions that either pit him against or with his family and friends, and this is literally at every turn. So with that said, it's a lot more personal, and I think that really works for this story because it is a smaller story. It is a more compact story. Very much works for this story in getting you the feeling of Miles, getting you to understand that Miles is a little bit different, and not just power-wise, but as an individual, and then basically giving you that refresher, right? So they did a thing where they have his electricity powers. They're going through him really kind of still learning some of his new powers. So you do see some of those shock and awe moments between Miles and realizing he has different abilities, which is cool. It's, of course, something we've kind of seen if you watch the Into the Spider-Verse movie. But once again, Miles' story is a little fresh still with a lot of people, so it's not like it's been done over and over and over. But you get pitted against that, not just him learning his own abilities, but then the conflicts between him and his friends and family, and that really brings a lot of personality to this character and this game. But what I will say is this game is very much tooth and nail the last game. I mean, they didn't reinvent the wheel to create this game. This is pretty much just the next chapter. Everything ported over with new voice actor and a couple of new moves, a few new gadgets. And you don't even get everything you had in the last game, but you do also get Miles' powers, which are different and separate. But it doesn't reinvent the wheel. So you don't get a sense of like, oh, this is just the next groundbreaking, next gen type of game. You get really honestly into a place of comfortability if you played the last one, and then it just everything feels familiar, like nothing is foreign. But the good thing is they don't over explain or over kind of like, they don't treat you like you're dumb. Okay, so you guys know how to punch, so we're not going to spend too much time on how to punch or how to string combos together or anything like that. They treat you as if you've played the previous game and you understand this is basically a rehash. It is a sequel. It took about maybe 10 to 12 hours, I think, for the story. So it definitely is a sequel, and 10 to 12 hours in context, I think the Gears campaign is like 15 hours. So it's definitely a standalone game. It's just not as long as Spider-Man, and it's not as meaty, which can be a good thing If because in my opinion, the first Spider-Man had almost too many side tasks. You ended up doing a lot of the same things over and over, and so this doesn't have that. So that's kind of a good thing. It's probably going to be the first game I 100%, just because I feel like I can actually do it. I don't feel, uberly overwhelmed. But yeah, so it runs a lot of the same cycles as the last one, but it's a great continuation. I don't think the next Spider-Man with Peter Parker will be called Spider-Man 2 after playing this, because this is literally Spider-Man 2. This is the second Spider-Man, and then whichever, that'll be the trilogy, right? Whatever Spider-Man comes out, and I almost see. I feel like there's no way for them to do another Spider-Man game without Miles being pretty active in it, right? He can't just be the side character who gets like one or two missions. His kit is way too full, right? And they've shown that his character is way too important. So I just don't see that. I suggested something, and I still feel like this is a possibility. I would almost argue they should do a drop in, drop out co-op, kind of like Gotham Knights is doing. That both characters play pretty similar, right? You'll have the certain differences with Miles' Venom powers, but beyond that, they play essentially the same, right? They're very much the same entity as far as skills and as far as the game plays. So it would probably be very beneficial to run the third campaign to be co-op, and let you experience that with a friend, or maybe you can choose which character you want to play certain missions with, something like that. I think that would be really, really cool. But overall, once again, this game is honestly completely fire. I mean, just the community, the flavor, the how personal the story is. It really feels as if there was a long, hard look at a community, maybe a small community, and how an individual growing up in that community develops. And it was thrust upon the game, and that's really, really cool. I feel like, sometimes I see people and I know them by name. I know who that person is, and I think that's really dope. I think they stayed really true to his cultures, both of his cultures, and if you're unaware, representation definitely matters. And so this is one of those games where I feel they did a great job at not just capturing Miles, but capturing that city feel, that community feel. So definitely an achievement for me. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 just because they didn't reinvent. Like, I didn't play it and go like, this is not like nothing I've ever seen before. But it's definitely it's probably a 9 out of 10 for me. It's very, 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 very high up there. And although Marvel's Avengers is kind of failing, it still makes me wish and want Miles as a character in that game, because his personality, not just his personality as an individual with his own friend, but his personality with Peter, and the way they even bounce off each other for the short time they're interacting is really dope. But yeah, that's all I got. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the game. If you finished, if you haven't finished, what are your impressions on the game as of now? But that's all I got for you guys. Y'all be easy. Peace.